And so 2 days ago, we got our initial anniversary teaser trailer. The theories have been going absolutely wild, and even yesterday, I gave my thoughts and opinions on who I think the upcoming anniversary characters will be. And while in that video, I do give a set of names on who I think will be the anniversary character, at the end of the day, I'm still unsettled on who I think it could be, and it generally could go either way. So when the announcement does happen, probably around July 20th, it's definitely going to be a fun time and probably and hopefully a pretty big surprise. Because ultimately, there are a lot of names being thrown around for this anniversary character, and what we're here to do today is back on my initial reaction video, which is the pull for this video is absolutely crazy. We got over 21,000 views. We did hit the like goal, which is absolutely insane, and I want to have a look at the actual comments to see what some of you lads are saying. What is your theories in regards to the 8th anniversary teaser trailer? Again, if you want to hear my theory, go watch the video I posted yesterday, but today, let's focus on you lads' comments. Now, keep in mind, in this case, we do have over 600 comments. There's no way we're going through all of them. We're probably only going to be able to look at like the top 20. So we'll see how this does go. Just hope if you did comment on the video, you got more likes than most others, because then, of course, your comment will be read. But I do appreciate everyone that did, comment on the video. And I have actually read through most of these comments already. It's kind of wild, some of the things people be saying, but that's the fun part when it comes to these predictions. So first up then, let's start off with Sakamoto. Looking at the guest list, I can narrow the list down to Ichigo, White, Isshin, and the Saki. Looking at the yellow and white slashes, it makes me think it's going to be Ichigo and also White. Definitely seen those two names thrown around a couple times. I mean, Ichigo's a given, right? He's basically been in every anniversary. It's the safest guess in my opinion. And in the context of the trailer, White does make sense. The theming of this anniversary does appear to be a type of rivalry, right? It's a good and bad character fighting against each other, which appears to be in Karakura Town. So generally that it could go that way. It could. Would be very excited to see what they do with that. And I would like if this is the case, of course they are going to be original designs. I would like if they go down Ichigo's hollow route once more and give him some really cool looking designs. So I'm excited to see what they do cook up for this particular anniversary. Ren for the win says the rain is definitely giving me Ichigo Inner World vibes, but the double slashes are giving me true Shikai Ichigo vibes. So I'm guessing it's going to be an original White Ichigo that will have a lot of the original White Hollow inspiration and original Yuha that will also have either Zangetsu or Tense Zangetsu as inspiration. Basically look younger. Since they're both parts of Ichigo's true powers, meaning Ichigo will not be this year's anniversary character. And this is actually a pretty interesting theory. I never really seen anyone give an actual reason on why it could be Yuha, and that would be kind of cool if they actually are hinting at a potential Yuha. Because we know Yuha was added to the list of names, so therefore he is a potential candidate. But given the context of the, the whole trailer in Karakura Town, I want it to be Yuha, but I haven't seen a good reason on why it could be Yuha. But this one, I think is kind of cool on why it could potentially be Yuha. If they did that, Caleb are on a next level when it comes to trying to give teasers on who the character could be. But if this plays out, Ren is going to be that guy, bro. Next up, we have Deus. I feel like something never seen before in round 1 of the anniversary on BBS is coming. I say that for the first time, there is a possibility that some of the characters from round 1 is from 1000 Year Blood War. This made me extremely hyped and excited for the 8th anniversary, and I'm really starting to think that this anniversary would totally open the door and shake up the game in a way that's never been seen before, and that's kind of true. That's why I hearted it. It definitely is spicing things up. Again, the problem with the anniversary, and that's not really been that much of a problem, but the list of names are the characters that we have to guess, right? And as the years go by, if the list wasn't getting updated, it just overall means that there's going to be less characters to predict. And that's why my biggest fear for this upcoming anniversary was that it was going to be so obviously Rukia, for example. Because if the list wasn't going to be updated, well, at that point, it's either going to be a repeat character or Rukia/Grimjow. Which is why I did think they were the biggest contenders for an anniversary character prior to us actually seeing the trailer. And going back to this comment in regards to it being something that we've never really seen before, we could potentially even see that in the trailer. Every past anniversary trailer, with the exception of the 3rd anniversary, that was the 1st anniversary trailer, keep that in mind, but every past anniversary trailer spent most of its time recapping what has happened in the past, showing the past anniversary characters. But in this case, this is the first trailer, and that's why it's actually so short, shorter than usual, is that we don't spend the first half of the trailer recapping what we've already received. Maybe because in a way, it's a fresh start. It's a new type of anniversary for BBS, and that technically could be 1000 Year Blood War. Next up, we have PK Root. So even though we just got a Ginjo, I think it's Ichigo and Ginjo for these reasons. The OST playing sounds exactly like the guitar version of the OST that plays when Ginjo is dying. RIP. And we see his last words as an inner monologue. Ichigo, would our roles switch if you were the one who had first appeared? It's a battle between two swords while reigning in Karakura Town at night, which is the setting they fought in. The X at the end could possibly be for execution, and looking over over again, the frame right before it cuts to the 8th anniversary has us looking up to the sky, and then a slash that cuts through it. Very similar and reminiscent to when Ichigo used Getsuga Tensho for the first time against Ginjo. So I'll be truthfully honest, if Ginjo didn't come out 2 weeks ago and I read this comment, I would instantly agree with you 100% and say, yeah, it's Ginjo, guaranteed. Like, you definitely bring up a lot of great points here. Having said that, I still think it's not Ginjo. I don't think it'd be smart on Keller's part to give us Ginjo 2 weeks ago and then give us another anniversary Ginjo. That would be the biggest fumble ever. And again, I am a fan of Ginjo. I do want him to get an anniversary character, but not this year. Not with the fact that we literally just got a Ginjo. Wouldn't be the smartest thing on Keller's behalf. But I mean, if it does end up being Ginjo, that'd be really funny. Again, you bring up some good points. I also did notice that on my first initial reaction, is that we do see a very similar frame to when Ichigo first did his Getsuga Tensho, as it does look like there is a, you know, a Getsuga or type of aura slash upwards into the sky, and that's our only shot where we get that's looking upwards. Otherwise, it's looking almost down on the floor with the characters going at each other. And Getsuga Tensho does mean Moon Piercer, right? So this scene potentially could be hinting at Ginjo. It could potentially be hinting at Ichigo too. At the same time, it can also double down and also hint at Isshin because he once more also can do a Getsuga. Blizzy says, with the rain, I think it's White Ichigo and Zangetsu. Just saying because the rain me think about Zangetsu. I guess it's a possibility. In my opinion, though, I don't see happening. White Ichigo isn't on the list. You could technically read White as White Ichigo, but it's very clearly White from 1000 Year Blood War since they're grouped up with Isshin, Masaki, and Ryukin. And Zangetsu, unfortunately, isn't in the list. But as that other lad said, you know, maybe Zangetsu can be included because it's Yuha. Maybe it's a young Yuha instead of Zangetsu, for example. Which then technically would be Zangetsu, I guess. I'm not too sure. Given the focus on the rain, I think there are a few options. White is very likely, but it also could be beyond Bankai Isshin. A set of Ichigo and Yuha with new forms would also be cool as well. Definitely agree with that. I'm getting TLA vibes. Ichigo vs Ginjo fight in particular. Because the rooftop and the rain, or Ichigo vs Grimmjow, which means Mask Ichigo, hype, because of the music and the clashing. I wouldn't say the music feels depressing, more like nostalgia. I mean, if we could potentially get another masked Ichigo, or some type of variation with an original design, I'd be super down for that. My big thing right now, though, when it comes to our predictions, is the list of characters. There were new characters added. Are Killer really going to add a bunch of new names to the list and it not be one of them? I mean, I guess it would be smart for Killer to do that, to bait people. But I really do believe when it comes to his anniversary, it is going to be at least one of the new names that were added to the list. Dash, though, says, I have a very strong feeling it's going to be Isshin and White. That's what I get from the video, and with them added to the list, it makes it even more sure of it. Again, same thing, agree with that. I think it's going to be White vs Isshin, basically in everything but the rain banner, and due to the fact that it's clearly two characters fighting each other in the rain under the cover of a night sky, which is when the battle took place. Besides, most of the battle didn't include Masaki, she only showed up at the end. Next up, though, we have Thanos. She's saying, I think it's Ichigo vs Renji. The first big battle that happened on Karakura battle was when Renji and Byakuya went to retrieve Rukia to execute her, and Ichigo battled Renji for the first time. Probably a new Ichigo and Renji reliving that fight. That would be very interesting. It's an interesting theory, I will say. A unique one, too. Most of the names that we are seeing here is Ginjo, Ichigo, and everything but the rain. To see a Renji thrown in there, that's kind of cool. Fair play. If you predict that, that'd be crazy. Wolfie Link says, I hope it's Rukia and Renji. I'd be too happy if that was the case. Becoming more realistic, it would make more sense that they were enemies of each other. In this case, one of the fights where Ichigo uses a hollow mask, and due to the music, potentially Grimmjow. Another possibility could be an original reinterpretation of Ichigo's inner worlds, so a fight between him and maybe some form of Zangetsu. So I've seen the inner world of Ichigo be thrown around a couple of times. Personally, I don't think it's the case because it's quite clearly Karakura Town, but maybe if it was hypothetically an inner world, it would be too bait because, you know, if we saw a trailer, it's set in the inner world. We don't even have to see anything else. We know it's Ichigo, Zangetsu, or White Ichigo, for example. Maybe Caleb don't want to make it super obvious, and that's why it doesn't look to be clearly in Ichigo's inner worlds. The Maroon side is saying something similar to what we've been saying. In this case, I'm guessing the White refers to the hollow Isshin fort and not White Ichigo. Because if it was White Ichigo, then the hashtag would be a different name, hashtag White Ichigo. Coming from the rain, Karakura City, and a sword fight, I hope it's Isshin and White. Would be awesome to see them. And again, I 100% agree with that. I just don't see White being in reference to White Ichigo, especially because when it comes to the list of names, they are using everyone's full name first and second. So if it was White Ichigo, it would be his full name. They would specifically mention the Ichigo part. But in this case, when it comes to White, the hollow that Isshin fought, he quite literally only has one name, that being White. I think this is definitely an everything but the rain theme. Personally, I'm guessing it's White because he only appears when it rains, and the slasher would make sense since his battle against Isshin and Masaki. Originally, I was thinking Joe Zangetsu, White Ichigo, and Zangetsu, like the panel in the manga when Namaya asks Ichigo, do you think you can get along with those Zangetsus? But after looking at the list of names, I'm going with White, final answer, at least based on the trailer. First guess was Ichigo and White, but Ichigo is usually a given, especially with the look of the slashes. An original design on Ichigo's true Shikai would be awesome. So far, a special design to resemble a pre-Thousand Year Blood War outfits like 5th anniversary, though it could just be a new anime version of Ichigo and White. I see a lot of guesses for everything but the Rain arc anniversary, which I would honestly be hype as hell for. It's one of my favorite mini arcs in Thousand Year Blood War. That's my thing too. I have seen a few people say Ishin isn't hype enough to be anniversary, same goes for Misaki or even White. I think those that have the opinion would actually change their mind once we actually see the grand reveal of the characters, assuming it is that. But yeah, when it came to Thousand Year Blood War, a big thing about Thousand Year Blood War that was hyped up was that mini arc, Everything But the Rain. And while I'm not the biggest fan of Ishin, I do like Ishin from the Thousand Year Blood War arc. And to me too, is also one of my favorite mini arcs. So to see an anniversary about this potential arc it's different. It's different, it's new. It's not something I would usually expect, which is why I'm kind of more excited. I like getting surprised. If we can just predict every upcoming anniversary character, that would get a tad bit boring. Even in the end, this might not end up as the most exciting anniversary or top anniversary Aizen, for example. If it feels new and fresh, I'm super down for it. And that's all we can really ask for, especially 8 years into a game's life cycle. I don't know about the Rain. Couldn't wrap my head around what the Rain was supposed to resemble, but the Karakura Rooftop and the clashing of swords only makes me think of first Grimmjow vs Ichigo fight in Karakura. Very hyped for next month. I think this is the first time we've seen Grimmjow predicted, and again, it's a possibility. It might not be the most clearest possibility, but what we do know for certain is that there are two characters clashing. Ichigo does end up getting an anniversary character almost every year. Ichigo's a likely choice, and in that case, it has to be one of Ichigo's villains, so it could potentially be Aizen, Yuha, Ginjo, and of course Grimmjow, so they all have possibilities. I definitely think the cross slashes and the Rain is reference to Ichigo's true Shikai form, especially with the anime coming back in July and the Shikai form getting shown off soon. I don't know who a second character could be, but I'm still hoping for Rukia. If it does end up being Ichigo's true Shikai form or some type of iteration of that, yeah, I'm not counting Rukia. It's clearly two characters battling each other, but an original design with the true Shikai Ichigo form in mind would actually be quite cool, I will say. I don't know, but I'm getting a feeling it might be Ichigo and Ginjo, especially because the anime episode and the Lost Agent arc, another episode that reminds me of when Ichigo's father tried to save Ichigo's mom from Hollow Knight. So yeah, Everything But the Rain or Ichigo and Ginjo, I feel like those two would be the most obvious answers. But again, to me, with Ginjo just getting a new character, I don't see another Ginjo happening so soon. It reminds me of the scene when Ginjo steals Ichigo's full ring powers and he is crouched down crying while it rains. Literally the same color and everything. And then it cuts to Orihime crying in the rain while running towards Ichigo. That's exactly how I feel from this trailer. The Karakura town in the rain setting immediately made me think about the scene where Kugo reveals his real motives to Ichigo. It's the only relevant fight which includes a rooftop in the rain while being a Karakura town. Also, they could introduce Beyond Forbring concept of that, plus they can't make Thousand Year Blood War as the anime headliners because they're limited characters. We need premium units, not limited ones. Again, I would agree, but the list of names now do include Thousand Year Blood War, so the possibility of Thousand Year Blood War being part 1 of the anniversary is actually there, and we discussed this on a stream. If Thousand Year Blood War does end up being part 1, it is Ishin and Misaki, and therefore they're limited. That will cause a lot of backlash, but maybe then part 2 of the anniversary could be a premium to balance it out. Hypothetically, let's say part 1 is Ishin vs White, therefore technically Thousand Year Blood War, limited characters, then part 2 could equally be as hype and be premium characters such as Dangai Ichigo and also Monster Aizen. It'd be very weird for Killer to do a part 1 Thousand Year Blood War and a premium part 2, but they could definitely make that work to give us some good premium anniversary characters. If we weren't given a list for this anniversary and we just had any character possible, then yeah, I wouldn't be pushing for the idea that it could be White or Kugo. But essentially what Caleb are telling us here with the list of names is that Thousand Year Blood War can be an anniversary because otherwise those names would not be there. Skibat says, I want Ichigo, whether original form or White from Everything But the Rain, would be incredibly cool to see. And it's what I'm calling for this anniversary. I have a feeling it might be Kenpachi and Retsu. The yellow slashes are typical colors of Kenpachi's aura, and the rain, the millisecond transitions. After that, it looks like a tree trunk, reminds you of the scene where Retsu first met Kenpachi as a child. While raining, and Kenpachi was sitting on top of various corpses, then proceeds to fight Retsu. I've seen a lot of Kenpachi and Retsu's names thrown around, and again, I do agree, the yellow slashes, the intensity of the battle does kind of meet the idea of Retsu vs Kenpachi. My biggest problem with that though is the setting of the fight. It's in Karakura Town. If this was hypothetically hinting at those two particular characters, I don't think they would specifically show Karakura Town. That's a big hint, especially with this trailer not showing us a quote, which we usually get, we have to take the context of what we get face value. This is a town. It looks like Karakura Town, and that's what we need to latch onto. So any character that isn't related to Karakura Town, I don't think has a possibility here, and that unfortunately does include Kenpachi and also Retsu. Any other character that has fought in Karakura Town, in my opinion, has a chance. So that does again include Ichigo, Ginjo, Renji, the characters from Everything But the Rain, and I guess even Aizen. The whole setting looks like the battle between White, Isshin, and Misaki. The setting, the rain, the dramatic music, the deadly clash of white and black auras, going to Saint, Ichigo, and White. Also, the list was updated to include thousands of Bloodbath characters included Isshin, Misaki, White, Yua, Ichibe, etc. So it's pretty convenient they suddenly appeared on the list. I'm going to say this, I think it's hype, but I will admit, I'm disappointed that Rukia getting her anniversary characters looking to be further and further away. Pretty much what I've been saying, right? I would love an anniversary of Rukia. I still think the day will come. Maybe not even next year. The current theory going around right now, and granted it is a year away, assuming this year isn't Yuha. Yuha would actually work for a 9th anniversary since his whole thing is 9 years, 9 days, 9 hours, for example. That does fit the theme of Yuha. That very well could be the anniversary next year. So maybe Rukia won't happen until the 10th anniversary. It is at this point very surprising we haven't gotten it yet, especially considering the fact that at this point in time, she is again the most popular character in the series that doesn't have an original form. She is the second main character to the series, and it could easily work, but maybe Caleb has something planned for her sometime in the future. I'm hoping for White and Rukia. Was it ready when Rukia was introduced? But between the slashes, those look like sparks from when Ichigo's Zanpakuto was being forged, so it might be a remake of True Shikai Ichigo. I've seen that for around too. The sparks potentially could be a forging of a Zanpakuto. A lot of people do believe those crosses do hint at Getuga Jujisho, so therefore the new Zanpakuto could be onto something. Another prediction for Ichigo and Renji, as Rinok says, I feel like it'll be Ichigo and Renji. The trailer reminded me of the first time Renji and Ichigo interacted with each other on the series, which happened to be the first fight as well. Those slashes remind me of their swords clashing, and the rain from when Ichigo is immobilized by Byakuya right before going back to Soul Scythe with Rukia. Again, possibility, right? If that ended up being the case though, I wouldn't be opposed to it, and it'd be a very... I think that right there would be the biggest surprise from the entire thing, because from the comments that we just read through, a lot of people are saying similar names. We've barely seen any that go for Renji and Ichigo. It's definitely a possibility, and if that ended up being the case, like I said, that would probably be the biggest surprise of all time. Although the Rukia fan in me would be very surprised that Renji gets an original form before Rukia, I will admit. This one's an interesting comment. I've rewatched the teaser a couple of times, and I can't stop thinking about how it seems the second slash that formed the X is a Scythe. I have looked for sounds of both katanas and scythes, and the second slash sounds very similar to a scythe. The second slash also seems to be more round and wide when compared to the first slash, indicating the blade is wider in length. And the movement also appears to make a full interrupted circle, contrary to the first one, who stops for a brief period of time at the middle before finishing its movements. This is something that not a lot of people have been talking about, myself included. I did also notice that too. If you look at the trailer, the second slash really does make a full circle. Now, it'd be funny if this X slash has no meaning whatsoever, but assuming it does, it potential could be a scythe user. Now, this is hard to say in what character it could be. I've seen a few people say Dark Rukia because of a scythe, and that will be the biggest brain prediction ever. But that definitely is worth noting. Wherever this character could potentially be, whether it is Ichigo, Ginjo, Rukia, Renji, Ginjo, White, Misaki, Isshin, we very well could see one of those characters with a scythe, because that second slash is definitely not a normal slash. That was someone that did almost a full 360, which is very common for a scythe user to do. But with that said, lads, that was the video for today. Just wanted to highlight some of the comments that we did get in my most recent video. But again, remember, we had over 600 comments. I can't go through every single comment, right? I did read most of them, and we can have a list of names here on what is the most common name. Not in order, by the way. But it definitely looks like the community is narrowing down the predictions to around 8 or so characters. Characters such as Ichigo, Ginjo, White, Isshin, Misaki, Renji, Rukia, Kenpachi. Those are the main names that were being seen thrown around, and of course it's definitely going to be one of them. I already given my prediction. Again, if you haven't already seen that, I recommend you check the video out that we posted yesterday. It will also be in the top right corner right now. But at this point in time, we have less than a month away from the grand reveal, and I really do think we're going to be going into this anniversary completely blind. While we do have a few names to narrow down, I don't think anyone is 100% set on certain characters, or at least I'm not. I have a prediction, but it could go either way. And I think it's a good thing. It's going to be a nice surprise. And hopefully the characters themselves do look really cool. And usually when it comes to anniversaries, they always do look pretty cool, right? With that said, hope you guys enjoyed the video though. I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.